And welcome everybody to the Keith Barker channel. It is a great day to talk about networking. And in our previous video, we focused on a Raspberry Pi, but using Kali Linux to deploy Kali Linux on it. And what I want to do in this video is correct a problem that bothers me, and that is this. If we want to use Raspberry Pi and connect to it remotely with VNC, which is what we set up in the last video, doing it manually, going to the command line, launching the command to launch it, and then opening, that's an extra step. So what I wanted to do is walk you through how we can automate the automatic launching of the VNC server function on that Raspberry Pi or the Kali Pi, so we don't have to manually do it. Now, in preparation for this, check this out. I spent a lot of time, and I identified many different ways that it does not work. And so I thought, who is like an expert in Linux that I could call? And I thought it was like a 4 millisecond decision. Shawn Powers. I work with Shawn Powers. I had the opportunity to know him from CBT Nuggets. He's a great guy. Follow him on social. He's a lot of fun, super smart, great trainer. And I said, Shawn, as I called him yesterday, hey, Shawn, in the car, on my wireless hands-free, wasn't using my phone with my hand. Anyway, long story short. Called Shawn and said, hey, can you help me out for like an hour tomorrow? I'm trying to automate the automatic bring up of VNC. And he said, yeah, love to help. So we scheduled some time. I got up a little bit earlier. He's on the East Coast time zone. And we spent some time, and he walked me through it. He said, oh, yeah, here's this, here's that, here's what it does, and here's how to make it happen. And we did it. So I want to thank Shawn Powers for helping me automate the automatic launching of VNC so we don't have to manually do it every single time. I'd like to walk through that first, and then we'll proceed to, if we have time, for something else additional really cool with the Kali Pi in our Cisco lab environment. All right, let's go to the desktop. What a perfect time to see this message. All right, I had this console open for too long. I'm going to open up the Raspberry Pi just using Putty, connecting to it. Same address as it had last time when we left it in the previous video. There's Raspberry Pi. Great. Log in with the default of root with this flavor and the default password of Tor. Root backwards, T-O-O-R. Great. And so here's what we're going to do. In the previous video, we set up the X11 VNC server. Great, that's all working from the previous video, no problem. However, we had to manually launch it. So here's what we're going to do. So this is thanks again to Shawn Powers. Great service he did for me here. We are going to create a vnc.service file. And nano is a text editor. It's going to allow us to do that. We're going to put this in it. I'll put this exactly in the description. You can copy and paste right from the description. And then he gave me some instructions on what to do following that up. So let me just walk you through it. It's actually pretty simple. I thought all those hours I spent, holy shnikers, I should have called you first thing. I probably should have. All right, so let's go to, let me just grab, I'm just going to copy paste. This will be in the description as well. Copy and go to my editor. Let me move it over so I can see it. There we go. And make sure it's all on screen. Great. Oh, let me move this over just a little bit more so you can see that if we're still configuring. All right. And paste, and we're in the editor. What I did was I just literally took unit service install, copy pasted in here, and I also put a little comment at the top, thank you Shawn Powers, just as a reminder of how awesome that is. I appreciate it. And then to save it, just do a Control X, and then hit Y to save, and enter to confirm the name, and you've saved it. Then after you've done that, then he said you want to do these things. You want to do this command right here, system control daemon reload, copy. Going back to my text editor. Oh, come on now. Let me minimize that. You get out of the way. All right. Going back to my text editor, so let me get out Control X, and I already saved it, so I need to resave it. So I'll right-click, paste in that system control daemon reload. That's going to reload all those services, including the one we just created. And then if we want to boot, we're going to do this command right here. Copy and paste, and we are good to go. And then what we do is simply reboot it and verify. So we can type in reboot, or we can do the shutdown. Oh! So I've got a lot of things going in this space. I need to reconnect. Just the luck of the draw there. Let me reconnect to my CLI. Also, having a keyboard and mouse and a monitor connected sometimes, not a bad idea to alleviate any kind of network connectivity. So let's go back to the Kali Pi. There it is. I'll log in again. All I was gonna do is reboot it. So root and tour. And we'll simply do this, shutdown, -R for reboot now. And that'll take just a few moments. We'll let that finish. And now when it comes back, check this out, what we can do is when it comes back, we can do netstat, N-E-T-S-T-A-T, space, and then Shawn said, the way I remember the switches I like is tuna. So netstat space dash tuna. I didn't use those same switches earlier, but that's a great way to remember it. And that will show you the services that are running. And we should see that the VNC server is running on port 5900. So that's a great way to verify before you just launch the VNC client to see if it's there. All right, let's go ahead and see if we have any love here. So reset. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I want to do a restart session and root tour, and we'll do a netstat. And thanks to Shawn, tuna. You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish. All right, and there we go. So port 5900 looks like for IPv4 and for IPv6 is enabled, and that's the VNC service that's running behind the scenes. So now we can go ahead and connect to it. So all we did, we just rebooted this Kali Linux box. We'll go to our VNC client, click on connect. In our previous video, we already stored a password. It was 1234567 That's why it's calling for a password here. And survey says, let me size this up a little bit so we can see it. That error message was not what I was hoping for. Let's go ahead and try it one more time. So I lost this session and my other one. So I've got a network I've got something in this lab network that's not happy. Let's go ahead and launch it again. Connect. 1234567 Oh my gosh. Okay, so here yeah, something got blown up. So here's what I like to do is I'm going to keep the camera rolling. I'm going to reconnect to the Kali Linux box, and I'm just going to reboot it one more time. So I'm going to open up another session to the Kali Linux box. It's still running. And we'll do a root and tour. Whew. All right, and let's go ahead and reload this with we could also just type in reboot too, but I'm going to do it this way. Shutdown -R for reboot now. Great. And let's give that a few moments. And when it comes back, hopefully nice and clean, we give it all time to get booted. Then we can go ahead and verify that VNC is working by just connecting to it and getting that remote access. Okay, so the other thing I want to chat with you about while that's booting, I'm going to give it a minute here to do it, is this bad boy right here. So this is, I bought this on Amazon. It's like, I think it was under $100. And what it is, it's a monitoring device for Ethernet. So you plug in 2 ports here. So imagine we had switch 1 and switch 2, we had a trunk. And they were cabled together. We could put one side here with another cable, another side here. And also it has, I think, auto sensing on these guys to figure out whether you need crossover or straight through cable. It sorts that out for you, I do believe. I tried it with a couple different cables. It seemed to work anyway I put it in. So I put the connection to one switch here and the connection to the other switch here. So we're like a man in the middle physically on the trunk. And then we'd plug the Kali Linux Ethernet interface here. Now, because I'm already using the Kali Ethernet port that we're connecting to it with, I also bought this. Actually, I've had this in like a bin for like a year and a half. It is Plugable. Let me see if I can focus the camera there. Focus, Mr. Camera. There you go. A Plugable USB to Ethernet port. And it's 100 megs. You could get gigabit ones too. The faster, also this guy is 100 megs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this into another USB port. And that way I can have my control channel to the Kali Pi over its built-in Ethernet port. And I can use this. It'll show up as Ethernet 1 and plug this. So this will go to USB on the Kali, and then this I'll plug into port number 5 on this bad boy, and then I'll plug the switch, instead of having the trunk with a crossover going directly between switch A and switch B, I'll put one of the connections here, one of the connections here, and then it'll replicate everything on these 2 ports that it sees, inbound, all the traffic, over to this port, and then we can tell our Raspberry Pi with Wireshark to not eavesdrop, but eavesdrop, to collect everything that's coming out this port, and then we can see all the traffic going back and forth. So let's verify the Kali is up and running, and then we'll plug in this device and we'll move forward. So let's launch VNC, our client, to that address. 1234567 is the password we did in the previous video. Connect, and that looks better. Let me resize that just a little bit. I'm going to peek over here at this monitor to make sure we can get it all in frame. There we go. That'll work. And we'll log in. So this is our VNC connection, root, and tour. We haven't changed that. You might want to change it in production, or if you're using this. So change your SSH keys and also change your root password so that you can't be hacked yourself. At least easily hacked by somebody knowing all the passwords already. All right, so let's connect this guy up. So I'm gonna, just as a description here of what I'm gonna do, I'm going to plug this end of the blue cable into, which goes to this dongle for Ethernet, and I'm going to plug that into one of the ports on the Kali Linux box, one of the USB ports. Hey, feels good to stretch. How you doing? All right, so I'm going to plug that in. All right, and then I'm going to take this. I don't know if you can see it or not. I have two really old switches. Oh my gosh, these haven't been powered on in at least a year and a half. So I got out my console cable and I powered them up. I did a write erase. I erased the startup config, reloaded them, and just from scratch put some basic configs in place. And on port 0/13, there's a trunk between them. And so currently I've got just a crossover cable going between them. So crossover cable has pins 1 and 3 and 2 and 6 mapped together instead of straight through. That's what makes a crossover cable. So I'm going to remove it from one side and put the other side in this on port 1. And effectively, I'm going to put this in the middle of those two devices. So let me get back to the mic and explain that here in a moment. So the mapping goes like this. I guess I can sit down. So the mapping goes like this. From one port on this, from switch B, it goes up to that monitoring device to port 1 or 2. And then from that monitoring device, it goes up to the other switch, switch A. And so they still have a trunk. And, power is important. So I saw no LEDs. And so there's no LEDs going on. And that's because I have not yet powered on this monitoring switch, the black one that does the mirroring. So what we can do is, it comes with a power cable. You can power it over USB. So if you have a good solid power supply going to your Kali Pi, you can actually power the hub, the switch, from your Kali Pi, which is what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to basically take the power cord that comes with this little USB connector, and I'm going to plug it into an available port here. On the Kali Pi. You know how sometimes the USB logo on a connector is the right way up? That's not it. So anyway, now it's lit up. And what I also tested this with, is I tested this with a USB port on a router. Like you're in a rack of gear and you've got a USB port on a router. I tested with powering the Raspberry Pi from the router USB, and then furthermore powering the switch, the little teeny black switch that's mirroring our traffic, from the Raspberry Pi. I looked at the amps involved and how much capacity that was being drawn and so forth. So you want to be careful. If you are marginal on power, that could cause the Kali Pi not to respond well or crash. So you want to make sure you have enough power and you're not starving it. So in this case, we're in good shape because I've got power directly from a USB device powering Kali Pi, and Kali Pi is powering the switch. All right, so now that we've done that, let's take a look at the interface. And let's verify that I can see that extra dongle that I just plugged in, the USB Ethernet device, and then we'll verify that we can capture traffic on that new dongle. All right, and here we go. So let's go to a command prompt first, just to verify that we see that dongle I plugged in. So if we do a command on Linux, ifconfig, and we'll scroll up a little bit here. So Ethernet 0, that's the built-in adapter that I'm currently connecting to this Kali Pi on. There's the address 234. Ethernet 1 is that new dongle I just plugged in the Ethernet 1 in the USB port. So it's seen as Ethernet 1. So if we go to Wireshark, we know where we can capture at on Ethernet 1. And then my wireless local area network, that's not currently set up, but it could be. That's the built-in wireless adapter on the Raspberry Pi version 3B+. All right, so I think we're in good shape. And let's bring up a capture and see if it flies. So we'll bring up Wireshark. And we'll simply tell Wireshark, now this is VNC running on the Kali Pi. And we'll simply tell it we want to capture on its Ethernet 1 interface, which is connected to the switch, the mirroring switch, that's replicating all the traffic between port 1 and port 2 on it, which is the trunk from switch A to switch B. All right, and there's our Ethernet 1. So all we need to do right there is just double click on Ethernet 1. They'll start the capture for Ethernet 1. Oh, that looks great. I see DHCP, I see some OSPF. Fantastic. And let's do this also. Let's generate some traffic as well. So I'm going to bring up, this is switch A. And if we do a ping from switch A, oh, it's inactive. Let me restart that. So if we do a ping from switch A to this address, that is going over the trunk. And so that all got captured as well. And so if we pause this, I'm going to click on the little stop button here. And let me go to view, and I don't want to see the packet bytes at the very bottom. That gives us a little more real estate to play with. This is so fun. I love this. I do. And let me scooch it over just a little bit to the right so we can see it. Oh, no. I need to be there. Hold on a second. Let's go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And okay. Oh, I cannot get there from here. I'm not sure. Let's try one more time because I don't know what caused that, but I definitely want to see this through. So let's go back to the terminal session. You shouldn't have to do this so many times, so that's okay. We'll log in as root. See, it's still up, still running. Let's go ahead and do a reboot. And let's try it one more time. So my next steps would be to go in and identify where in my network am I having problems, or is it my computer that's glitching out? What is it exactly? But I definitely want to get the packet capture and see it in action now that we have it plugged into our network. All right, so let's give it a moment. And I'm just going to open up a session to it to make sure it came back. Not yet. All right, almost there. It's always longer when you're waiting for it. Okay, the green light on the Kali Pi is lit up, so it's still reading the disk. Perhaps if it had a disk issue, it had to do a disk check. That's also possible. Yep, it's still flashing away. So if it gets shut down incorrectly, or if it doesn't go down gracefully, that could happen. Let's try one more time. Okay, there we go. So we're back. And I'm going to go right for VNC. All right, there we are. And I will scroll that down so we can see it. All right, I want this to work. I just want to verify that it's functional. And so we'll go ahead and click on the icon in the top left. We'll launch Wireshark again. All right, so Wireshark is loading. We're going to capture on Ethernet 1, which is the dongle. There's our traffic. I would like to send in just a little bit of traffic till we can see it. So let me do a ping again. Oh, I lost that one too. Yeah, something happened on my computer. My apologies. So let me get that out of the way. Hold on one second. I just need a putty window, please. Okay, switch A. All right, there's switch A. I just need to do a ping. What did it show? IP interface brief. And let's do a ping out to this guy right here. So you can see that. And we want to go to 56. That'll go over the trunk. Fantastic. We'll stop this capture. And without getting too cute, let's take a look at the results. So it's captured all that traffic on the trunk. And if we look at any one of these packets, like a ping, for example, here's the Ethernet header. There's the layer 3, the 802.1q tag. So this is VLAN 777. And then there's the ICMP message, which is a request, followed up by a reply. And if we look at the other ones, here we have, looks like spanning tree. Fantastic. Here we have some OSPF hellos. going to the multicast address at 224.0.0.5. Fantastic. So what I wanted to do in this video was I wanted to share with you primarily how we could automate the launching of VNC so we don't have to manually do it. So following Shawn's instructions, which I will post in the description, you can do that. Secondly, I wanted to share with you how we could connect and start doing packet captures remotely with the GUI and get that data right in front of us. Now, the device I'm currently using, it was under $100 for that, the little black switch that takes ports 1 and 2 and replicates them all to port 5, and that's where we're listening. And the little dongle here, I don't remember how much it was, but it wasn't too expensive. I'll put the details for the exact models in the description of this video. But I want to share with you another really cool option. This is like 12 bucks. And these are commonly, I've seen a kit called the Throwing Star, where you can plug your trunks between switch A and switch B, or between any two devices, in these two ports, and then you can plug your sniffer into this port passively, and you can actually eavesdrop that way for a lot less than like $100 switch. You can actually use this little device. So I'll include this. I do want to test it first and make sure it works properly. So I will test this and do a live stream on it from start to finish, so you can have that information as well. The purpose of this channel primarily is CCNA 200.301, focusing on the concepts of CCNA. And I've discovered that if you have some live gear lying around, or you're like, wire packet sniffing and so forth, a couple things. Number one, don't ever use harmful tools or ethical hacking tools on a production network where you're not authorized. It's very dangerous for your career and your safety and your lawfulness. So be careful about that. Also, as you work with protocols like this, you're reinforcing the things you've learned inside of CCNA. Things like DHCP, things like ARP, like 802.1q trunking, and being able to look at the traffic. And so I've had a lot of fun in putting this together. And also I gave my switches, switch A and switch B, a chance to get out of mothballs. They hadn't been run for a long time. They're happy to be here. So I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy that you're studying for your CCNA, and we'll have a few more videos with Callie if you want to integrate those into your networks. And then we're also going to continue on with many other topics. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Click on the alert bell to get the new videos and updates when they are dropped and released. Also, we have a Discord server. If you want to join us after the premiere of each of these videos, we always hang out for a while in the voice channels on Discord. You're welcome to join us, ask questions. Our main topic is focusing on things related to the technologies and topics of Cisco CCNA. All right, well, I am a little rushed today because, and I do appreciate Shawn Powers for helping me and putting this all together. This is actually going to go live here in about less than an hour, so I need to get some thumbnails made and dialed in and released so I can enjoy the premiere with you all. All right, thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next live event on the Keith Barker channel here on YouTube. Thanks, everybody.